I'm never gonna get used to positioning this ring lamp thing I have to hold my phone, or making it stop my eyes from glowing in a really unnatural way. Hello, how are you doing? I feel like it's been a while since I've made a video talking about my recent Booktube favorites, but I wanted to make this video because I do enjoy watching a lot of Booktube videos. And I've seen a number of videos from different creators recently expressing how stressed out they've been getting of the whole sort of YouTube process, and pressure to upload, and pressure they get from comments, and I know there's a lot of anxiety and stress that surrounds making videos, since I make them myself, and I know how much time and thought and effort goes into making videos. So I just wanted to sort of pay it forward, expressing how much I enjoy watching a number of different Booktube creators' videos and getting their thoughts and opinions and feelings about book. It's all just, a celebration of reading and the whole reading process, and which is why I enjoy watching it so much. And I wanted to suggest to you some booktubers that you might have not have come across before, and that I think are really well worth watching and following and subscribing to and liking and all that stuff that goes along with YouTube. But a thing too about getting other thoughts and opinions about books is, I once talked about this before, and how much I really appreciate getting other points of view about books I've been reading, and it does change my opinions sometimes, yes, but sometimes I might see those other opinions and not agree with them, and still have my own reading experience of it. And I just wanted to like express that it doesn't, I don't. It doesn't completely change my opinion every time I see someone that expresses a opinion about a book that's more positive or negative than mine. It's just, I really enjoy getting other points of view, and I think it's so interesting how it can shed light on the reading process, coming from an entirely different perspective and having a different unique reading experience that's not my own. And I just wanted to sort of express that, is that I'm not just someone whose like mind is instantly changed by watching somebody else's opinion, and sort of reiterate that fact. But so I have a number of different videos that I've watched recently that I'll link all below, and to those creators' channels, and so you can check them out yourself if you haven't watched them, or if you're interested in watching them after you hear me talk about them and comment upon their videos. So first off, there is Sunbeam Jess, who made a video recently talking about her March to May reading experience. I'm talking about books, which she hasn't checked in for a little while because she's been very busy. She gave birth to a child. She actually made another human life, but has still been reading a lot, and still made a video talking about all of these books in a really interesting ways. Like, what an amazing person. And she is such a pleasure to watch. I've followed and watched her channel for a really long time. She doesn't just talk about books, she also talks about fashion and makeup, and so she has a number of different interests and things that she talks about, but is so intelligent in her thoughts and opinions about books. And so I always really enjoy watching her book videos. And in this video she talked about some authors like Jeff Vandermeer and Jane Smiley, who I've read before, and who I want to go back to reading, and I've not read these particular books that she's talked about. And she talks about some other books like Ghost Wall and The Mermaid of Black Conch, and she talks about them in quite a critical way. So like, again, like, even though I loved both of those books, Ghost Wall and Mermaid of Black Conch, I really enjoyed getting her other point of view about it. It's always so difficult to tell, isn't it, with like reading experiences, like how subjective your opinions of a book is and how objective they are. And anyway, that's part of the whole process and joy, I think, of watching these Booktube videos, because you get this sort of real world experience of other people's experience of reading, rather than it just being a private experience of us reading on our own. So next I want to talk about a new channel I just came across. Well, it's not a brand new channel, but it's a channel I just came across recently, which is CarolynMarieReads, and she reads a lot of classic literature. She loves Russian literature, and she loves Anna Karenina, and just read War and Peace recently, and wouldn't wild for it, and so now has set herself this Russian literature reading challenge, and it's quite a long video talking about all the Russian classics that she wants to read over the coming months and year, and it's just such a pleasure hearing her discuss these books in such a intelligent and interesting way and dynamic way, and bringing these like classics back to life and giving a new perspective on them, and I just think that's such a wonderful experience. And there's one moment in her video where she's talking about one classic. I can't remember if it's by Gogol or some other Russian author, and she's like, do I know what this book is about? No, I don't. Am I excited to read it? Yes, absolutely I am. And I feel like that's the experience I have quite a lot of just looking at books and being so excited to read it, even though I don't necessarily know anything about what it's about. And I just found that so relatable and enjoyable. And another recent favorite video was made by Bob the Bookerer, who does these great like themed videos all around a particular subject, which he talks about quite a lot. And obviously his channel is named after the Booker Prize, and I'm a big follower of the Booker Prize, so of course I love hearing about his reading experience of all the different Booker Prize books he's been reading. And he set himself a challenge of trying to read all of the short lists of every Booker Prize book, which is a massive challenge. Like, I've not taken that on. That would be way too big for me, and would take me probably multiple decades. And but I love following his experience, and maybe I'll do it one day and join in as well. But anyway, this video that he made recently is talking about books that take place over one day, and so he talks about a whole range of books like Ulysses and Mrs. Dalloway, of course, is some like classic examples, but then some more recent examples, and like Nicholson Baker's The Mezzanine, which is this fantastic absurdist novel, which I really love as well. And yeah, he has such interesting opinions about books, and he's really fun to watch, and just seems like such a friendly, wonderful person. It's always really comforting watching his videos. Then continuing on with sort of book prize themed videos I've been watching recently, and one I participated in recently. I was kindly contacted by AndtheBooks, who's an Italian booktuber, to appear on her channel to talk about the International Booker Prize that was just awarded recently. And so before that was awarded, we had a recorded conversation with each other, which she posted on her channel, talking about the Booker Prize. And so she asked me a whole bunch of questions about the books, and we went through each of the books on the short list, talking about my opinions of them or my thoughts about them, since at that time I hadn't read all of them yet. And yeah, it was just such a lovely conversation, and so like fun to when she would ask me a question, I would answer, and then she would translate it into Italian, because a lot of her viewers are Italians who don't speak English, and so she was making it accessible for them. And so it was really fun, like hearing all of my thoughts in Italian being translated in real time. Or yeah, but yeah, she's such a lovely person, and it was great having a talk with her, and I felt really honored that she invited me to have this discussion with her. Then next in book prize reading, Rachel is Reading made a video talking about the Women's Prize for Fiction shortlist and her rankings of all of the 6 books on the shortlist. And so she gives a ranking to each book and her thoughts and reflections about them. And of course, I've read all of the shortlist myself, and actually I have it here. I'll lean over and get it to show you. That probably wasn't worth it, but anyway, here are the 6 books that she talked about and ranked. And yeah, it was really interesting hearing her become, like, she talked about how much she enjoyed reading all of these books, but how she had to become more critical, thinking about them in the context of a prize, and obviously having to rank one book over another, and so hearing her sort of thoughts and justifications for that was really interesting, because why? Because when we have to be more critical as readers, like whenever I think we have to do this whenever we make videos talking about a book, it really forces you to think a lot more closely about the reading experience than you would would if you were just sort of reading it and then like finishing it and thinking, oh, that was good, and then putting it aside and not, you know, giving much more thought to about it, or thought about like why you think it worked or didn't work, and yeah, all that, those sorts of things. And so yeah, it was really interesting hearing her summary of all her thoughts and feelings about all of the books. And then finally, Shawn the Book Maniac made an interview video with Ingrid Perso, talking about her novel Love After Love, which of course I was on the judging panel for the Costa Book Awards, and we chose it as our winner for the Costa Book Award first novel category. And I love that novel so much, and I think she's an incredible writer. And so it was so wonderful to hear one of my Booktube friends interviewing her and having a really interesting discussion with her. And I got an insight of how the proper way to pronounce her name, because I just sort of assumed it was pronounced in the French way of Ingrid Perso, but no, you pronounce the D, so it is Ingrid Persaud. So yeah, I've been mispronouncing it this entire time. So I learned something from it, as well as many other things, from getting some insights into her writing process and how Shawn was reacting to some things in the story, and then her thoughts and feelings about that. It was all so really interesting, and especially how she's responded to some book club questions she's got, some slightly tricky book club questions, to get her thoughts and very thoughtful insights about why she chose to write certain characters or scenes in a certain way. And yeah, that was just absolutely wonderful. And I always enjoy watching Shawn's videos because he's so fun and interesting, and yeah, it's wonderful watching him. And then Ben at doomantidote posted a video of his mid-year freakout tag, because it's almost the midpoint of the year, so this tag always comes up around this time of year for booktubers. And I always really enjoy watching these videos of people answering questions, the prompts from this tag, talking about their reading year so far. And I always make a video like this myself, but I do the alternative tag, which is the mid-year check-in tag rather than freak-out tag, because I don't like to freak out. I don't know, I just find that the concept of that quite like stressful. But I find Ben's videos such a pleasure to watch. I think he's the funniest booktuber I watch. He's just such a delight, and like the way he talks about books, and he reads a lot of classics and fiction, and so when he talks about like, this is a great work of realism, and he talks about books in this hilarious way, and and every once in a while he'll just like break out into song in the middle of talking about books. And again, he had some opinions about books like Love After Love, which he didn't entirely work for him, and yeah, it was really interesting getting his perspective on why it didn't work for him. And then there were a couple of videos I watched recently which were sort of bookshelf reorganization videos, which are sort of perennial favorites here on Booktube. And recently I had a big sort of clear out of my bookshelves and was getting rid of a number of books, so I had to jostle a number of books around, and yeah, it's a really lengthy process, and I thought like, oh, I should have made a video about this, but that would have made the whole process an even more time-consuming thing, and it already took me hours and hours to like go through all the books and weed some out and put others in and all of that. And so yeah, I didn't want to like add more to that, but I really enjoy watching other people reorganize their bookshelves. And so there was one video by Bookslikewhoa, who posted a video called Redecorating My Dream Library, because she reorganized her office and library space, because it's where she works almost constantly now, much like me, because of the pandemic of the past year and having to work from home. And so just I'm in this space pretty much all time every day, and so she wanted to reorganize her space to be more adapted to her ideal working environment. And she put in these like new open-ended bookshelves, which are absolutely beautiful, in this lovely corner bookshelf. And so yeah, it was just really interesting watching her like reorganize all of that and seeing little things like, I have the exact same vacuum cleaner that she does. And so when she was sort of cleaning up, and I noticed that, and talking about getting a chai latte whilst she's reorganizing her bookshelves, and I love a chai latte myself. And so So yeah, there are little things like that I find really fun and appreciated. And also she has a really lovely new cozy reading chair, and very soon I should be having a new lovely cozy reading chair coming to my home, because I bought it quite a while ago and it should have been delivered by now, but hasn't. But anyway, I'll post an update about that when I get that, because that'll be big exciting news. I mean, I know for most of the world that wouldn't be big exciting news, but in my little reading life, it's big exciting news to get a new comfy reading chair. So I'm sure I'll be posting about that everywhere. And then finally, the last video I want to talk about is by Leanne Rose, who made a video called Reorganizing My Penguin English Library Books. And it's exactly that. She's going through her Penguin English library, reorganizing them all and putting them in place. And it is so funny and fun to watch, because you get an insight into the whole stressful process of like, oh, how am I going to reorganize my books? And she makes the bold method of trying to reorganize her books by the year that they were published. But when you start doing that, then trying to track down the right dates is tricky. And after she does that, and she does a whole process of trying to put in post-it notes, but then the post-it notes fall off, and then she comes across some books where there'll be like 2 books in one, and one was published on one date and another on another date. So then where does it go? And all these like silly, stressful issues that we readers have when trying to organize our bookshelves. But anyway, by the end of it, the result is really beautiful, and it's a lovely thing to see. And I find it really calming and relaxing, but also just really relatable. And I think that's one of the most wonderful things about Booktube, is there's all these relatable issues that we have with each other, which for most of the people we know in our physical life don't have these same issues, because probably aren't all as geeky readers as we are and stress out about these things. But yeah, it makes it a lovely experience connecting with other readers online like this, because they share similar feelings. So those are some great videos I've watched recently. As I said, I'd really recommend subscribing to all these channels, and again, I'll put links to all of them below, so you can easily find them and watch them yourself and enjoy them and comment on them and give them a big thumbs up and all of that. And so yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any favorite Booktube videos recently that you would really recommend, or channels you would really recommend, let me know about them in the comments below, because I always love finding out about new channels and watching videos when I'm just not quite in the right mood to read, and so just want to watch people talking about books rather than reading a book myself, which is always sort of a slightly weird, like catch-22 situation. But yeah, that's another aspect of the reading life. So thank you for watching. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.